Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to HitBullsEye. My name is Manish Mittal, and in this video, we will discuss the 5 most important news from today, 24th of December 2021. First of all, thank you so much for your overwhelming response to this video series. We have been getting a lot of positive comments, and we have been getting a lot of appreciation for these efforts. So thank you so much for that. Our effort is to make you utilize your time in the best possible manner. So that's why this initiative we have done. So let us see all the news that we are going to discuss today. So the 5 things we are going to discuss. First is the Manjapai Scheme, which has been started in a South Indian state. We will see what this scheme is all about. Secondly, Sigma, which is a new messaging application, a high security messaging application that has been launched for the Indian Armed Forces. We will see the significance of it, how secure communication is becoming really important in this information age. In third news, we will see the high-speed expandable aerial target abhyas or heat abhyas, which is a defense exercise. Number 4, we will see news of economy, in which ESG funds, we will see what are ESG funds and why people are investing more in ESG-based funds. And finally, in Hong Kong, a particular incident has happened that has brought back the memories of the Tiananmen Square massacre that happened in China in 1989. So these were pro-democracy protests in China, but they were crushed by China. And it happened in Tiananmen Square, which is the center of power in China. So we'll see why this incident is back in news now. Let us see these news one by one. So the first news is the Manjapai Scheme. So the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, now he is the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has launched this scheme, Manjapai. This is to promote the usage of cloth bags, as you can see in the picture, to promote the usage of cloth bags by the general public and to discourage plastic bags, which has become rampant, not only in Tamil Nadu, but in entire India. So Manjapai is a scheme for that. And there are many harmful effects of single-use plastic products. And the Chief Minister highlighted the need for replacing all the plastic bags with cloth bags or something that is biodegradable. Now, this is not something that is unique to Tamil Nadu. This is something that Government of India is also, trying to target. That single-use plastics should be totally phased out, right? So the main idea here is that it is expected to have a domino effect, and it is expected that other states should also follow suit, and that they should also start biodegradable bags. So this is something setting a precedent for other states, and central government already has the agenda where Prime Minister Modi announced a few months back that single-use plastic we should end single-use plastic. That is something significant from climate change point of view as well. So you should remember, because schemes that have been started in particular states, if they have significant implications on the environment or something bigger than their own, then it can be asked in the exams. Second, very important messaging application called Sigma has been launched, which can be used only and only by the Indian Army for its official communication. So it's a contemporary messaging application, and its full form is Army Secure Indigenous Messaging Application, which is acronymed as Sigma. So Sigma is Army Secure Indigenous Messaging Application. That means all the official communication. So for those of you who do not know it, the conventional messaging applications and messaging, or you can say communication technologies, cannot be used by the armed forces. For example, the army officers cannot exchange messages on WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger about their official, official communications. That is strictly prohibited, and it is prohibited to that extent that if someone is found communicating on any private channel or any private communication center, then he or she can be terminated from service without giving any chances of explanation, because all these messaging applications, no matter how secure their no matter how secure their owners believe them to be, the army and defense forces never believe them to be totally secure. For example, we saw the Pegasus spyware incident, in which the iPhones of prominent personalities were hacked. So iPhone is supposed to be and is believed to be very secure, and WhatsApp claims that its messages are end-to-end encrypted, but all the WhatsApp messages, images, everything, and that too in all the iPhones were hacked under the Pegasus spyware incident. The spyware is so strong, which is based in Israel, that it hacked the phones of more than 300 personalities in India, and all of them were very significant personalities from Bollywood, from sports, from politics. So army can never take that chance. So A Sigma stands for Army Secure Indigenous Messaging Application, and it's a new generation, state-of-the-art web-based application. So all this is good, but civilians cannot use it, of course. It can only be used by the officers of the core of signals of the army, and it is deployed on Army's internal network as a replacement for an application that was already in use. That was Army Wide Area Network Messaging Application, which was known as WANMA, Wide Area Network Messaging Application. But now it has been replaced with A Sigma, which has significant levels of bug fixes and technological upgradations. It has its own hardware as well. So the army manufactures its own hardware, and the army manufactures and codes its own software as well. So no component is imported from outside. The level of secrecy and the level of you can say security is so high that even hardware is manufactured in India, and software, of course, is 100% manufactured and coded within India. It's a future-ready messaging application that can be used throughout the world, and it is highly secure for any type of secretive communication. Next, again, a news related to defense forces. HEAT, also called High-Speed Expandable Aerial Target Abhyas, has been carried out by Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO. And as you can see in the picture, it's actually, it looks like a missile, but it is also an unmanned aerial vehicle of sorts. So it is launched as a missile, as it is clearly visible in this picture. It is launched as a missile, but it is actually a very small aircraft with no person sitting inside it, of course. So the benefit is that it does not need any runway to be launched. It just needs this particular launch pad for launching, and then it can be operated from the ground and can be used for various purposes. It can be used for attack. It can be used for surveillance applications. So it is used as an aerial target for evaluation of various missile systems. It is totally indigenous in nature. So as you would have noticed, we are going towards indigenization of security forces, whether it is messaging application, whether it is the arms and ammunition. So once it is totally developed, it will meet the requirements of HEAT for Indian Armed Forces. It has been developed exactly by DRDO's Aeronautical Development Establishment, or ADE, which is in Bengaluru, and it is powered by a gas turbine engine to sustain a long endurance flight at subsonic speed. So that is one point, that it is not at supersonic speed, it's at subsonic speed. Subsonic means, sonic word simply means the speed of sound. So speed of sound is approximately 1,234 kilometers per hour. So subsonic speed means it is less than that. Supersonic means it is more than the speed of sound. So subsonic means that it is less than the speed of sound, somewhere around 1,000 to 1,100 kilometers per hour. So the target is to control it through flight control computer, and this vehicle is fully autonomous. It can be fully autonomous, and it can be checked during using a laptop-based ground control station. So it can be controlled, it can be used as an unmanned aerial vehicle, it can be used for attack, it can be used for surveillance, anything. The major plus point is that it can be used from anywhere. It does not need a runway to be launched. Then in economy, we have the ESG funds. ESG simply means environment, S means social responsibility, and G means governance or corporate governance. So these three have emerged as the key themes for corporate investors in India. And it has ballooned nearly 5 times, 12,000 crores over the past couple of years. So earlier people used to invest around, you can say 2,000 crore rupees into these bonds, into these type of funds, I'm sorry. But now it has ballooned to 12,000 crore rupees. So earlier this week, the National Stock Exchange launched NSE Prime, which is a framework that allows companies to submit its standards of corporate governance that are higher than those required by existing regulations. Because now people are trying to invest more and more into ESG funds that imbibe environment, social responsibility, and corporate governance. And they are also synonymous with sustainable investing or socially responsible investing. So that is basically, you should know what are ESG funds, and people are investing more into these funds. Finally, we come to our last news, which is the Tiananmen Square massacre. So as you can see in this picture, basically in 1989, there were some protests in China where people were demanding democracy. And we know that China is not a democracy. China is an autocracy, authoritarian regime it is. So in 1989, people came onto the streets demanding democracy in China. But the Chinese government, as it is well known, came out with a really heavy hand. As you can see in the picture, a person is standing in front of a line of tanks. And this picture became so famous, it is known as one of the top 100 incidents of 20th century. This image, that's why I've used it here. This man is standing in front of a tank and is refusing to move. And this tank is a symbol of Chinese authoritarianism, that the government came down so heavily on the civilians. And in this incident, hundreds of protesters were brutally killed. And those protesters were unarmed and they were protesting in a peaceful manner. So this is a really shameful incident in the history of China. And to commemorate this incident, pillars of shame were erected at many places in the world, including in the Hong Kong University. But it is in news because some workers have took down one such pillar of shame in the University of Hong Kong. So it shows that the establishment of China is really, trying to heavy-handedly, come down over the University of Hong Kong. So it was a 8-meter tall sculpture, which was taken away in parts. And it was in remembrance of China's 1989 crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in Tiananmen Square. In the world, there are so many pillars of shame, which are the works of Danish sculptor Jens Galschiot. And they are made up of bronze, copper, and concrete. They have been erected in Hong Kong, which has been recently taken down. Other than that, such pillars of shame are also there in Mexico and Brazil, and they are in remembrance of the people who died due to those protests, to remind people of the events to ensure that they don't happen again. So now one such pillar has been taken down in the Hong Kong University, and we know that Hong Kong is always a disputed part of China. It's going to be transferred to China sooner or later, and people there keep on demanding democracy. They do not want China's mainland authoritarianism to be a reality in Hong Kong as well. So that's why this news is significant, and that's why we have discussed it. So that is all for this session. These 5 important news from economy, from international relations, and from defense that you should be aware of. If you like the last 15 minutes, if you think that you have learned something new, please give us a thumbs up. Tell us any suggestions that you have. Also share it with your friends and make them also learn some new things. That is it for today. My name is Manish Mittal. Thank you so much and take care.